All right, everyone, what are we talking about today? That's going to be more Gen 5 things for the Gen 3. So I know this has been covered by some other folks. I haven't done this yet myself. This one is going to be paying homage to Franken Gun Builder on Glock Talk. He said it could be done, and I believe he said we just have to remove some tabs. So we're going to be taking a look at that and seeing if that's the case. So let's pull this thing out. Pull this thing apart just so that we can see what the differences are between the two. All right, so pull this thingy off here. So as many other folks have said, it looks like the biggest difference is just that the Gen 5 housing has the little tab there on the end, as you can see right here, whereas the Gen 3 housing, trigger housing, does not. So let's see if we can go ahead and remove that and fit it right here into this Glock, which is a Gen 3. So I have this bright idea to line up with the tabs here. See if this will work. Then we'll just do the same thing. Cut the tab off. They're pretty straight, pretty smooth, so I may not have to do any other modifications there. We shall see. Hey everyone, I noticed really quick that typically about 80% of folks are not subscribed that are watching my videos, so if you wouldn't mind, take a moment, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep on going. Alright, so we got her all back together and working, and it is definitely different feeling because there's a lot less stacking, you know, before you get to the wall. So you can feel that there's a spring there, but it just doesn't feel like there's stacking up pressure for good reason, right? And then you hit, and it seems a little lighter. It's definitely different. Whether I like it or not yet, I don't know. But there's a couple of things that I had to do besides just remove those little tiny legs down at the bottom. So I'll get into that here in a second. And it has to do with the actual trigger shoe itself. So check this out. If you look right here, you'll see this line. The line is different on the Glock Performance Trigger, and it might be different on the Gen 5 Glocks. So we'll get this back apart so that you can see what I'm talking about. So right here, I had to modify the curve of this, because what was happening when I would pull the trigger and then rack the slide, it was pushing up on this and causing the slide to lock open because the angle here was hitting the bottom of this and bringing it up, right? So I had to modify it to be closer to the Glock Gen 3. So it's not perfect, but it's now out of the way and it's working. So that might be something that you have to do. And of course, if you have messed with one of these, you're gonna find out real quick that when you do this, you're like, oh, okay, cool, that's super easy to take apart. But then try to put this thing back together. Not a fun task whatsoever. Oh, and I polished this up while I had it out, might as well. So let me show you the way that I found that is easiest to put this back together for me. And there might be different, easier ways. There's specific tools that you can buy, but this is a very easy way to do this. All right. So you can see I've got my Glock tool here in my vise, and you know, basically what I'll do is I'll swing the little spring-loaded doodad up there. There's a hole in the backside. Get that into get the punch into the hole and then squeeze down on it, push it back, then you can insert your trigger bar. Then you just got to basically line it up and then slide it off. Bam, there you go. Now you're back. Lube up the different points that it wants you to lube up. And there she is. Make sure she works. As I said, different. Whether I like it or not, I don't know. Because I'm not used to the trigger just springing forward at that point, you know. But it is kind of nice since the fulcrum point is a bit lower than on the factory bar. It makes you want to pull on the trigger at a lower point, probably like some of the other shoes out there. So that gives you basically the feeling that you have a lighter trigger, even though it's not necessarily lighter because you're grabbing it at a place where you have more leverage. So just for the heck of it, let's go ahead and test out this trigger with the Lyman digital trigger gauge. Go. First pull. 3 pounds, 7.5 ounces. And this does have the Ghost 3.0 unit performance trigger connector in it. 9 ounces. All right. Total overall, that was 10 pulls, was 2 pounds, 15 ounces. So right around the 3 pound mark for the Glock Performance Trigger with the Ghost unit performance trigger connector. So that's pretty cool. All right, guys. So there you have it. That is how to install the Glock Performance Trigger into your Gen 3 Glock and get a little fine tuning going on there, as I mentioned, with having to change the little trigger bar angle, or the trigger shoe angle rather. But anyways, if you like my content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.